Hi folks, Washington Werewolf here. Tonight we're going to compare how today's so-called leaders address the terror attacks to how Winston Churchill addressed the attacks of his day. Let the evidence speak for itself.
A miracle of deliverance achieved by valor, by perseverance, by perfect discipline, by faultless service, by resource, by skill, by unconquerable fidelity.
The terrorists who murdered David Haines like to call themselves the Islamic State. But I will tell you the truth. They are not Islamic, and they are not a state.
That the cause of civilization itself will be defended by the skill and devotion of a few thousand airmen. Wars are not won by evacuations. The Knights of the Round Table, the Crusaders, all fall back into the past. Not only distant.
Just mention the Crusades in a positive way.
On our high horse and think this is unique to some other place. Remember that during the Crusades and the Inquisition, people committed terrible deeds in the name of Christ.
That we know Islam is a religion of peace, and it has nothing to do with the ideology of our enemies.
That Herr Hitler had a plan for invading the British Isles. This has often been thought of before.
Quotes from the president in this interview with David Remnick in the New Yorker. If a JV, a junior varsity, if a JV team puts on Lakers uniforms, that doesn't make them Kobe Bryant. I think there is a distinction between the capacity and reach of a bin Laden and a network that is actively planning major terrorist plots against the homeland versus jihadists who are engaged in various local power struggles and disputes, often sectarian. So here the president seems to be belittling the current al-Qaeda threat to the United States, which may be a challenge to some of these jihadists.
Any great warrior will tell you, know your enemy.
There's a partial transcript of his calls with the hostage negotiators.
You say partial. What's being left out?
Well, what we're not going to do is further proclaim this individual's pledges of allegiance to terrorist groups and further his propaganda.
So we're not going to hear him talk about those things?
We will hear him talk about some of those things, but we're not going to hear him make his assertions of allegiance and that. This will not be audio. This will be a printed transcript, but it will begin.
That what happened in France and Belgium is a colossal military disaster.
I do know it's part and parcel of living in a great global city is you've got to be prepared for these things.
Part and parcel of living in a big city?
It's part and parcel of living in a great global city is you've got to be prepared for these things. You've got to be vigilant. You've got to support the police doing an incredibly hard job.
No wonder ISIS has been so unafraid that they could hold an open-air parade, pose for photographs in the middle of a desert highway, and bulldoze monuments. If we had real leaders, these fiends should be so afraid. There should be so many planes and drones circling overhead that these creatures wouldn't dare step outside.
We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air.
And how did that hashtag campaign
We shall defend our island,
work out?
whatever the cost may be. We shall never surrender.
Notice there's no German outreach here. No statements like, well, the Nazis do not represent the German people as a whole. No, Churchill did not have that kind of time to waste. There you go, folks. Yesterday's strengths, today's weaknesses on full display. If you like, share this video with a friend, subscribe, follow me on Twitter and Tumblr, and until the next full moon, remember, life, liberty, and the pursuit of...